Hello students, how are you? Welcome to the beautiful channel Padhai Ka Kavach again and the science online classes organized by the Noblehood School. Students, as you know, in our previous session, I mean before the Diwali vacation, we have just completed our syllabus till the term 1 or the SA1 examination. Right now, we are going to study the new chapter number 9, Reproduction in Animals. So let us start our journey of the chapter number 9. Sorry for the interruption. As we know about the systems like the digestion, circulation, respiration, which we have already studied in our previous classes. These are some essential processes which is required for the survival of every individual or the human being. We have also learned about the process of reproduction in plants. Reproduction is also essential for the continuation of a species. यानी कि एक प्रजाति को अपनी पीढ़ी को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए जो भी प्रोसेस करनी पड़ती है वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है. Imagine what would happen if organisms had not reproduced. You will realize that reproduction is very important as it ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals, generation after generation. In student, reproduction is a type of continuous process which will produce the similar kind of organisms generation after generation. In your previous standards, you have studied about the reproduction in the plants. Now, in this chapter, we are going to study how the reproduction takes place inside the animals. What is the mode of reproduction? Let us start. So, our first topic is 9.1 Modes of Reproduction. So, first activity for all of you is the table in which the animal name is written. For example, human, cat, dog, butterfly, hen, cow, frog, and their young one. Means, what is the exact name for the younger animals? Say, for example, if you take a human as an animal, then the young one of the human being is called as the baby, while hen, its young one name is chick. So, similar way, so this is all about this table. So now students, can you tell how the chicks and the caterpillars are born? How the kittens and the puppies born? Do you really think that these young ones look the same before they were born as they do now? Let us find out. In the animals, there are two kind of reproduction system is there. First is sexual reproduction and the second is asexual reproduction. So let us understand about the first method of the reproduction, which is about the sexual reproduction. So try to recall reproduction in plants which you had studied in class 7th. You will remember that plants that reproduce sexually have male and female reproductive parts. Can you name these parts? Means whenever you were studied about the reproduction in the plants, there are certain male portion and the female portion is also there inside the plants. So similar way, animals are also having a different reproductive parts or organ like plants. The reproductive parts in animals also produce gametes that fuse to form a zygote. It is the zygote which develops into a new individual. Means zygote is the first form of the species from which a new individual will develop. This type of reproduction beginning from the fusion of male and female gametes is called sexual reproduction. Means the male gamete and the female gamete when fused into each other, then that kind of reproduction method is considered as the sexual mode of reproduction. So now let us find out the reproductive parts of human beings and the study of processes of reproduction in them. First is male reproductive organs. Which are the reproductive organs are there for the male? First is the male reproductive organ include a pair of testes. The singular word is the testis. Two sperm ducts and a penis. The testes produce the male gametes called sperms. So here students, male gametes which is considered as a sperms. Million of sperms are produced by the testis. Look at the figure 9.2. So student, here it is the male reproductive system in which this is the sperm duct which is connected to the testis, and from this the sperms are produced. Through the sperm there are very small in size, each has a head, a middle piece and a tail. Does it appear to be a single cell? Indeed. Each sperm is a single cell with all the usual cell components. Means student, sperm is look like this, human sperm, which is having a 3 component which is separate. First is head, second is middle piece, third is a tail. Okay, so these are the 3 separate portion of the male sperm. Okay, so this is a single cell which is having a 3 different kind of parts. Second is a female reproductive organs. The female reproductive organs are a pair of ovaries, oviducts and a uterus. Okay. In this female reproductive system, the ovary produces female gametes called ova, eggs. Means student, the ovaries that you are seeing here, just a second, this one. This ovary is producing the eggs. In the human beings, a single matured egg is released into the oviduct. Uterus is the part where development of the baby takes place. Like the sperm, an egg is also a single cell. So in the human being student, a single matured egg is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries every month. So actually, in this figure, one egg is released from this ovary is released in the oviduct and it will stored it here in the uterus tube. And uterus is the part where the baby development is takes place. Okay. So let us know from the Bujos what is his view. So Bujo recalls that the size of eggs in animal varies. Means the egg size is not similar in all the animals. Like it is very small inside the humans, much larger in the hens, and the third ostrich egg is the largest. So these are the size variation inside the animals. After that, the process fertilization start. The first step in the process of reproduction is the fusion of sperm and an ovum. When sperm come in the contact with the egg, one of the sperms may fuse with the egg. Such a fusion of the egg and the sperm is called fertilization. So student, egg which is taking out from the ovary and the sperm from the male reproduction system fuse with each other, and this fusion process of this egg and the sperm is called the fertilization. During the fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus. Means this egg and this sperm, these are the two single cell organisms. Okay, and when they fuse with each other, it forms the single nucleus. This will result in the formation of the fertilized egg, which is popularly known as the zygote. Okay, so this fertilized egg, you can say it as a zygote also. Here the fertilization process is shown with the help of figure. These are the sperms. Million of sperms are there, which is coming out from the male reproductive system, and then after it will fuse with this ovum. So the two nucleus bond with each other and form a single nucleus, and it will form the zygote, which is called as the fertilized egg. The process of fertilization is the meeting of eggshell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. So the new individual inherits some characteristics from the mother and the some of the father. So in students, during the fertilization process, egg cell is from the mother side and the sperm cell is from the father side. So the new individual, which is produced after a few months. Okay, so because of this two individual cell, the inherits having some characteristics of mother and some from the father, because there are two cells plays an important role for the process of fertilization. Look at your brother and sister. They are having a common characteristics with your mother and father. See if you can recognize some characters in them similar to those of your mother or your father, as I already told you. So fertilization which takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. So please note down this sentence. Internal fertilization occurs in many animals including humans, cows, dogs and hens. You will be surprised to know that in many animals fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. In these animals, fertilization takes place in water. Let us find out how it happens. So, during the spring or the rainy season, frogs and toads move to ponds and slow flowing streams. When the male and female come together in the water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. Unlike hen's eggs, frog's egg is not covered by a shell and it is comparatively very delicate. A layer of jelly holds the eggs together and provides protection to the eggs. So here, student, the image of the eggs of frog is given, in which we clearly seen that there is a no shell is present. Okay, it is bounded with the soft jelly, and inside the jelly there is a nucleus lie. As the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them. Each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. The sperms come in contact with this egg and this result in the fertilization. Means This is an example of external fertilization where the sperm and the eggs meet each other not inside the body but it is takes place outside the body, which is known as the external fertilization. It is very common in aquatic animals such as fish and starfish and the etc. animals. So Bujo has a such question in mind. Why do fish and frogs lay eggs in hundreds whereas a hen lays only one egg at a time? इसका मतलब है कि फिश और फ्रॉग ये हज़ारों की तादाद में क्यों कैसे अंडे दे पाते हैं जबकि मुर्गी तो सिर्फ एक ही अंडा देती है एक टाइम के ऊपर. Paheli giving the answer. Through this, animals lay hundreds of eggs and release millions of sperms. All the eggs do not get fertilized and develop into the new individuals. इन सभी एग्स का फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं होता और उसमें से स्पीशीज भी जनरेट नहीं होते. This is because the eggs and the sperm get exposed to water movement, wind movement, and the rainfall. Also, there are other animals in the pond which may feed on eggs. Thus, production of large number of eggs and sperm is necessary to ensure fertilization of at least few of them. So, student, inside the external fertilization, not all the sperms fertilize the egg. So, in this way, whatever might be the number of eggs, but they all are not get fertilized. So, in this way, they are not giving a birth to a new infant. Second is the development of embryo. First stage is the fertilization, second is the embryo development. Fertilization results in the formation of zygote which begins to develop into an embryo. So here students, zygote is clearly visible in this fallopian tube where the two nucleus fuse to join with each other and then after it will embedding the embryo, means it will stuck to the uterus wall. The zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a ball of shells. The shells then begin to form groups that develop into different tissues and organs of the body. This developing structure is termed as embryo. The embryo gets embedded in the wall of the uterus for further development. So student, zygote is continuously dividing into the shells, multiple number of shells, okay, within a one common nucleus, and then after it will form the embryo which will stick to the uterus wall. The embryo continues to develop in the uterus. It gradually develops body parts such as hands, legs, head, eyes, ears, etc. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called as fetus. Means here, inside the 9.9 figure, fetus in the uterus means the shape of the baby is taking a gradually, okay. So when the development of the fetus is complete, the mother gives birth to the baby. Means after certain period of time, the baby is ready to coming out from the mother's womb, okay. So at that time the mother gives birth to the baby. Internal fertilization takes place in hens also. But do hens give birth to babies like human beings and cows? You know that they do not. Then how are chickens born? Let us find out. Soon after fertilization, the zygote divides repeatedly and travels down the oviduct. As it travels down, many protective layers are formed around it. The hard shell that you see in the hen's egg is one such protective layer. After the hard shell is formed around the developing embryo, the hen finally lays the egg. The embryo takes about 3 weeks to develop into a chick. You must have seen the hen sitting on the eggs to provide sufficient warmth. Did you know that development of the chick takes place inside the eggshell during this period? Means student, when the hen is giving the egg outside the environment. So at that time, the process of the embryo development is still continue, and sometimes the hen is sitting on the egg to provide a good warmth. So during that period, the continuous development of embryo takes place. After the chick is completely developed, it bursts and opens the eggshell. So in animals which undergo external fertilization, development of the embryo takes place outside the female body. The embryos continue to grow within their egg coverings. After the embryos develop, the eggs hatch. You must have seen numerous tadpoles swimming in ponds and streams. So in this way, development of embryo is there. So student, this is all about the fertilization and development of the embryo. Next topic, viviparous and oviparous animals, we will study in detail in the next lecture. Thank you.